Didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to do that. Hi! My name's Aaron, and I am playing Ocarina of Time for the first time as a newbie gamer. If you are a huge fan of this game, or it was a huge part of your childhood growing up, that's something that I've heard a lot, you might want to hear the perspective of somebody who's playing it for the first time as an adult. So let's get into it. I had cousins and siblings that absolutely loved the Zelda games, but I didn't really know much about them other than I knew the main guy, Link. I had seen him in Smash Bros, and I had seen bits and pieces of the really bad Legend of Zelda cartoon that was in the Super Mario Bros. Super Show for a hot minute, where Link goes,
"Excuse me, princess."
Then I played Breath of the Wild, and subsequently, when it came out, Tears of the Kingdom, and I loved those games. I was like, once I do this series, let's go back to the original. Let's go back to the start. This game walked, supposedly, so that Breath of the Wild could run. So, what did I expect? I thought it was going to be a shorter, smaller, more rudimentary version of Breath of the Wild. Basically the same map, but simplified, maybe a bit smaller, less stuff to interact with, but the Hyrule that I kind of expected that has become so iconic. I was wrong. This game is long. I'm only about a third of the way through, maybe close to a half of the way through, according to my partner, who has played the game before. I thought it was going to be so much shorter. I don't know why I equate older games with being shorter or less involved, but that is definitely not the case with this game. Now just covering from the start of the game up until the time jump, which is where I am now. I have some opinions. Let's get into it. I began the game. I quickly realized something that I had grown accustomed to in games was not there. And that is the jump button. There is no jump button. There's no jump button. What? That blew my mind, and I'm still grappling with that currently. Wild that you just have to run off of stuff and expect the character to just jump. Like that, it was terrifying getting used to that. Not to mention the fact that since I'm not good at games, I'm not a pro gamer, I took a while to get used to the controls. What the Dude, stop. Okay, that's definitely not what I pressed. Nope. No! Hey! I don't know why I forgot about the spiders here. Bro. That's neither here nor there. I'm working on it. I'm getting better as a human being, and I'm growing, and that's what matters. That leads me to my next point, though, the dungeons. So the very first dungeon I experienced, I thought was so much fun. I loved exploring all the rooms. The mixture of combat and puzzles was so fun. The thing that I realized is that there are times when I will try something and fail at that thing. And then because I failed at that thing, I would assume that I was on the wrong track. I was on the wrong path. I was doing something wrong. I needed to go do something else. But the reality was, I just wasn't used to the level of jank. For instance, there is a point in the first dungeon when you are supposed to jump off of a platform and land in the middle of a spiderweb trampoline, essentially, in the ground floor in order to break through it. When I first saw that platform to jump off of, I was like, oh, I got the right idea. I thought, maybe I just need to land in there, and either I will bounce and not take damage, or I will break through it to the bottom. I jumped off, and I landed on the spiderweb. Nothing happened. So I thought, oh, guess I was wrong. Later, I had members in the chat that told me that I just didn't land quite in the center enough. And so that's something that I didn't anticipate with this game, is that would be an issue. If you don't get something exactly right, if you are not in the exact right spot, then you will miss it. And that's something that isn't as prevalent in games now. They've kind of smoothed out those things where it's more obvious. If you're doing the right thing, it will work. This began the evolution of the help me meter, a little kind of meter that I keep at the bottom of the screen to let the chat know if I want help, because some of these puzzles are still kind of tough. It's a game made for kids, but the puzzles can be kind of tough, or I'm just dumb. We'll never know which it is. Anyways, I made it through the first dungeon, loved it, got really excited to go into Hyrule. I met Zelda. She had green eyebrows. Why? Then I meet Impa. This is Impa? Bro, I did not know that the Impa that I know from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, old grandma, badass grandma, was in previous games. It makes sense. They alluded to so much previous lore with her character in those games, but I just thought it was great world building. No. She's in this game, and she's a hot young thing. I was very shocked to see such a foxy young Impa. It brought my little heart joy and provided more context to me for the games that I've already played now that take place in Link's future, Hyrule's future. I can never look at Impa the same now after that. She was always just an old lady in my head, and now there's this other side to her that I didn't know. Anyways, I go to Kakariko Village, and then, of course, there's a chicken side quest, which I was excited about because I did that side quest in Breath of the Wild. I may or may not have been very successful with that side quest. Okay, I grabbed. No, I didn't mean to throw it! Mother effer. Brother, come here. Oh my god. I pressed grab! It should not be this difficult. Oh, give me the chicken. I'm gonna end my life. Anyway, I met the Great Fairy for the first time. And I tell you, that was a traumatizing experience. I knew the Great Fairies from Breath of the Wild. They were huge mommies, large Amazonian women, beautiful, and a little bit overbearing. What I did not expect was an insane clown posse groupie, perhaps? She was naked, first of all. What? And goth and pointy. She was just too pointy. It was unsettling. How did you guys get through this as a child? How are you not all scarred? Or are you all scarred? Because if you are, I'm here for you. I'm sorry that you had to experience that. So that was a surprise. She was small and much more unsettling. That's fine. That's fine. You know, she still gave me a boon, but I haven't found very many opportunities where I've needed to use those abilities. So maybe those are just kind of like icing on the cake and you don't really need them, but they're fun. I don't know. Again, I'm only in the first third of the game. Maybe later on they become much more important. We'll see. After that, I go to Goron City and the Zora Domain. Love both of those dungeons and those worlds. The Goron City was basically what I expected, although I didn't expect a lot of it to be underground. That was fun and interesting, something I hadn't seen with the Gorons before. I had no idea going in if there was going to be any kind of mechanic about, well, it's so hot up in Death Mountain that you just burn right up and you die. And luckily that wasn't the case. Dungeons were super fun. Same with Zora Domain. And I loved the design of the Zoras. They were so much more alien looking than I'm used to. I'm thinking, oh, Prince Sidon, like that hunky fish stud man. Like they're like fish men. But these guys were much more like alien and lanky and pointy, but in a cool way. There's something about the vibe of those original Zoras that I just found so almost haunting, and I thought it was really cool. Inside Lord Jabu Jabu, you meet the princess. And it made my heart go, "Aw." I didn't realize that there was such a history with these two characters. I thought that the flashbacks in Breath of the Wild were the first time that was brought up with that story. And knowing how it ends now, too, makes me really sad. I'm good. I'm an adult. I'm not going to cry. Anyways, I struggled a little bit with that last dungeon, but chat helped me out big time. I got the last spiritual stone and was able to get the Ocarina of Time. What I wasn't expecting was, as soon as I came back with all the spiritual stones, ready to talk to Zelda, Zelda's on the run immediately. She's riding her horse out of there, and I'm on my own again. Then we get to the time jump. People told me there was a time jump. I did not know that it was a literal jump for Link. I thought there was like we fade to black in this, he got the Ocarina of Time, fade to black, and some years pass, and now you're an adult. No, it's so much worse than that. Ganondorf is taking over the world, and he is in like cryo sleep for 7 years and loses his childhood and wakes up as an adult. So the mind of a 9-year-old is suddenly in this adult body. What? I did not know this entire time that Link's lore is that he never got a childhood. He got his first, however many little years as a kid. He doesn't get a childhood after that. That's so sad. This character that I've known about for so long just grew up in the blink of an eye for him. I mean, I think it brings a lot of depth to Link's character that I didn't really consider before. It makes a lot more sense to me as well why he's kind of the silent character, that he doesn't really talk, that he's very stoic. I mean, he's kind of a child still. That puts things into perspective a lot. That is something that I didn't know about Link. That's not something that people talk about with this character very much. Overall, really, really loving the game. There are definitely some disconnects in terms of how I'm used to gameplay being as somebody who played more modern games and isn't used to having to do things over and over to get them exactly right. Whether that be on purpose or because the game is a little jank because of how old it is. Other than that, and the fact that there is no jump button, it's the last time I'll mention it, I promise, I am loving this game. It is charming. It is intriguing. The story is very interesting. Seeing Ganondorf for the first time as a human, or a Gerudo, before he becomes Calamity, this huge apocalyptic entity. Super interesting to explore the creation of the Hyrule that I know from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I love all the mechanics with the ocarina. I am a musician, so I love learning all the little songs and playing them. That's one of my favorite parts. Super fun. I feel like the main complaint I have is the no jump button and the overall jank that I feel like is indicative of a lot of games from that time. I don't think that is unique to Ocarina of Time. Let me know if you disagree. I will let you know how I feel about the rest of it. I'm super excited going into this time jump as adult Link. Gonna revisit all the places now that Ganondorf has taken over. It's gonna be a very new Hyrule. I'm gonna have so much fun. Follow me on Twitch if you want to see more. I will link my Twitch in the description below. I'll be there every Thursday at 8. I'll see you next time.